Hi, Craig here. Welcome back to my kitchen and cooking with Drench. So today what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make a really delicious char siu lo mein. I used to think it was called chow mein, but I'm going to make a nice rich oyster sauce to go over the noodles, so it makes it a lo mein rather than a chow mein. The char siu I've made, I'll post a link to a video of that as well. So that's all pre-made and pre-chopped. Ingredients, I'm going to cheat quite a little bit here because I'm going to use pre-bought chopped vegetables. Obviously you can chop your own, but I just like to buy that. I bought extra bean sprouts. Going to put some onions in. Going to put some peppers in, some garlic, some ginger. And all the other stuff I've got, or I need, is oyster sauce, pepper, soy sauce, light and dark, and corn flour. I'll put the list of ingredients in the description below as always. And what we'll do is we'll get it nice and close and we'll see how we get on. Okay, the joy of this dish is you can add whatever vegetables you like, you can add whatever meat you like. Like I said, this is Chinese roast pork that I made myself. If you're using any other meat, it's exactly the same process. Obviously you're going to have to cook the meat to about 80-90% ready, but it's exactly the same sauce. You marinate it exactly the same. But instead of cooking this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this one up. Okay, so let's just move this out of the way. What we need to do first is we need to make the sauce. So let's start with, into the bowl we're going to put 2 generous tablespoons of light soy sauce, 2 generous tablespoons of oyster sauce. Oh, this is a lovely nice thick oyster sauce, this one. Let's get this one. There's one. There's a nice generous 2. Okay. Ooh. Now the one thing I forgot to mention was the sugar. So next up is the pepper. One teaspoon black pepper. All right. I just need to get this because it's corn flour as well, so I'm going to use 4 tablespoons. So let me just get the spoon dried off and cleaned. Okay, next up is the corn flour. So what we need to do is just get the measure cleaned off and dried, and it's 4 tablespoons of the corn flour we're going to add. Okay, that's all in nicely. Next in, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. Sorry, not 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon. And then finally, 4 tablespoons of water. Okay. Right. Now, before I start stirring and making a horrible noise, which I'll probably turn off, we need to get that all mixed in, so it's mixed in nicely, so we can then start marinating the meat. Okay, right, so that's that now ready to go. What we just need to do, let's put this into a bowl. Missed a few of the pieces, but here, like you can see, they've been cut into, they're about 2 centimeter cubes. They give a good stir. Get that all over the top of there. Now, what we want to do is just give that a little stir around. We want as much of that to soak into the meat as possible. Obviously it's cooked, so it doesn't soak in quite as well if it's uncooked. So let's just make sure everything is coated nicely with that. Okay, looking really nice. Right, let me move that out of the way. I'll wipe down and I'll come back and we'll get on with the next bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do at this stage, I'm going to make the sauce to go onto the noodles. So it's basically the same components as last time out. This time, however, there's a little bit of dark soy sauce in there as well. So let's just start with the light soy sauce again. This time it is 3 tablespoons. So 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I can count. And there's 1. 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. Now what we need 4 tablespoons of the oyster sauce. Okay, so 4 of those. Perfect. Okay, again, teaspoon of black pepper. This time what we need is a tablespoon of sugar. And the corn flour, 1 tablespoon of corn flour as well. And again, 4 tablespoons of water. Right, perfect. Like before, need to get this all mixed up nicely and together. We'll give it another stir when we come to adding it to the dish. But I'll do this, but I'll fast forward it as well. Okay, that's that done, ready to go. So we'll give that another mix just before we add it, but that now gets put aside as well. But let me just get everything out so we can actually start cooking. Okay, like you can see, I've already started the process. All I've done is brought some water to the boil. I might have mentioned a few times before, but using this rig up, sometimes just even little things like this do take a little bit of time to do. Okay, so I've got, it's 2 lots of 250 gram bags of noodles. Like you can see, it's medium egg noodles. They are the dried ones. You can use fresh, but this works just as well. Okay, you're going to use as much water as possible here. As they start to soften off, just move them around. This should only take 3 to 4 minutes for these noodles to cook, and we want them fully cooked. And the more water you can use, the better it is for the noodles as well. But they're softening off nicely. I was thinking I might have to add a little bit more water, but I don't. So I'll keep the video running, but I'll fast forward it while we're cooking noodles, because you don't need to listen to me blathering on while the noodles are just cooking. There is no salt added to this water. There's plenty of salt in the dish through all the soy sauce and everything else, so you can always add salt at the end if it's not salty enough for you, but I never do, because it is plenty salty enough. Okay, that's taken far longer than it should have done. What we need to do now, we just need to get this drained off. Let's keep it going a little bit. Ooh. Let's put that back on top there so that dries off nicely. Okay, what we need to try and do is, we don't need to cool this down, heat shock it or anything like that, or chill shock it, so that this stops cooking, because we're going to use it pretty soon. But we don't want it sticking together. Just let get a little bit of oil in the bottom of this pan. Don't need a huge amount. I'm going to try and get most of the water off the noodles as well. Right, so let's get the noodles back into the pan. Okay. Actually, it doesn't really matter if they do stick together at this stage. We can sort that out. But let's get them, try and get them coated in the oil, just so that they are there and ready to go. I'm looking at this thinking, my wok is not going to be big enough. I'm going to have to do something when we come to combine everything together, but we'll sort that out in a second. Right, that's that ready. Let's get this out of the way, and then we can start on the other bits. Right, now the fun begins. Wok, vegetable oil. Let's get that in, and let's get that heated as high as we can. I am going to leave that an age. I'm going to stop the video because there's no point you watching a fast forwarded version of oil heating up, because this will take a while to get up to a nice temperature. We want it as hot as possible. So I'll be back in a minute once this is ready to start using. Okay, that is just about ready to go. Meat first. Like I said, I am using my pre-cooked char siu. As you can see, most of that marinade has been soaked in. At this stage, if you're using or starting your meat raw, it needs to be cooked about 85–90% ready. Okay, so let's get that all in there. And all we're going to do is just warm this through a little bit. So I'm going to put it back in the same plate because it's cooked meat going back in as cooked meat. All I've done is heated it up. I haven't gone from raw to cooked. Obviously, if I'd gone from raw to cooked, I would have used a fresh plate once I had finished doing that. So let's get that all whisked around. When it starts sizzling again, we will get that out. But the smell's already starting to come off and it's starting to look good, and definitely not big enough pans. Okay, sizzling back up nicely. So let us get that out. Into there, that's all ready to go. Right, vegetables next. A little bit more oil. And let's get that pan heated up nicely. Okay, first in the onions. You get them sizzling away nicely. Slightly cheated again on these. These are the pre-cut and frozen. All I've done is I've zapped them in the microwave for a minute, get them up to temperature, or up to room temperature, or defrosted them up to temperature. Soften them up nicely. So we need to cook them. When that starts sizzling again. Peppers are the same, again pre-cut. We just want to soften them off nicely so that they're nice to eat. Okay, that's back up and sizzling, so these in. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to keep stirring those in and through. I'll fast forward this bit until they're ready. Normal oven, this normally only takes about a minute to do. We'll take at least double that time on this, so I'll keep doing this and fast forward, and then I'll whiz back when these are ready for the next bits to be added. Okay, they are looking much better now, softened up really nicely. Okay, now we've got garlic, we've got twigs of ginger, and we've got chopped ginger as well. So all of those go in. Again, allegedly for a minute. I know that this will take far longer on this one, so again, fast forward. Hope you like the music, by the way. It was one of these free music sessions on YouTube. All the details are in the description for that as well. I think it's really cool. Now the aromatics, the smells coming up off already, the garlic and the ginger. I will fast forward, give you a little bit more of that music, and I'll be back with you in a minute or less. Okay, that appears and smells to be perfect. Rest of the veg. Okay, so I've just got a bag of bean sprout and vegetable stir fry. We'll get all of that into there. Now you can see the issue I am going to have, because that's full and I haven't put the noodles back in yet. This is going to be my dinner tonight, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off stir frying the veg, and I'm going to go back to the pan I used for the noodles just to combine everything, because the stir frying is all done and I just need that space for everything to be combined in there. So let's get the noodles, not the noodles, let's get the bean sprouts in there. Like I said, I'm only going to use about half the bag. I'm only putting them, it's more than half the bag. Let's go for the, there we go. Right, let me just look at that, multitasking failure, no talking and stirring at the same time. Obviously I'm thinking about how I'm going to do this in the background as well. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that up to heat. It's still heating up. Believe me, when I've got a decent cooker in front of me, this is such an easy dish and such a lovely dish to make. It's still a lovely dish to make. It's just not quite as easy when you, one, haven't got the pots big enough to make as much as you want to make, and two, your cooker's not as hot as you need it to be for Chinese. Right. Okay, so we'll let that heat up. I'll fast forward through it and then I'll come back to you. Okay, that's the stir frying done. So I'll pause the video just so that I can get the pans switched over. Okay, so as you can see, I'm back to the noodle pan. A little bit of oil on the bottom of it already, so that's great. So let's just get that back up to temperature. because what we need to do is get the noodles in here. Okay, that starts sizzling away again. Right, now noodles. Let's just get these in here. Huge amount of noodles still to go in. We just want to mix them all around. So it's giving us a lot more space. As you can see, the noodles haven't stuck together, which is great. Get the spoon out of the way. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save some of these noodles for another dish. So, right, next bit. Remember the sauce? And let's make sure it's got a nice, good stir to it. Right, nice. What we want is we want these noodles absolutely coated with that sauce. That is the secret to this dish. Oh, look at that. It's looking and smelling absolutely delicious. Right, let's get a few more noodles in there. Okay, last bit. Let's get the meat in as well. Okay, there's a little bit left over, but I will deal with that as well. Okay, let that heat through, because that is now ready to be served. So what I'm going to do, let me clear everything down. I'll plate it up, and then we will we'll have a little taste. Okay, that's that all done. So let's get a little sample. Whoa. I think my biggest vindication for this dish was one of my sons works in a Chinese restaurant, and I pre-cooked a whole load of this dish for them, and he polished it all off, and then he came back for more, and when I went to the freezer to get one for myself, they were all gone. The I've spent so many years trying to perfect or trying to get Chinese cooking half decent in my kitchen. I used to follow way before YouTube and everything else, great Ken Hom on British TV. He was a great inspiration for Chinese cookery. And finally, with the YouTube and the internet, I finally got into it. And I'm loving what I cook when I cook Chinese. I'm just very... I don't particularly want to get myself a cooker, but if I want to keep cooking Chinese, I'm going to have to do that. But that's enough of me talking, so let me actually get a little taste of this. Oh, you can taste the oyster sauce coming through that. That is so nice. Oh, well, I'm going to finish that off very quickly. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please like, subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next one.